We're going to be going over lesson 12.6, volume of cylinders and cones. So the first thing we need to know is how you figure out the volume of a cylinder. And it's just like how you figure out the volume for all the other shapes. Your volume is the area of the base times the height. So in this case, our volume is the area of the base of a cylinder would be a circle, so our pi times the radius squared times the height. In this case here, for this shape, it says find the volume of each cylinder round to the nearest tenth. So we have our base of our circle with a radius of 3. So our volume is pi times 3 squared times our height of 12. So I'm going to take 3.14, because that's what pi is, times 9, because that's 3 squared, to get 28.26, and multiply that by 12. My volume ends up being 339.12, rounded to the 10th, so 339.1 inches cubed. Because once again, 3 dimensions, we need to have that label there. So it says a cylinder with a diameter of base 14 centimeters and a height of 20 centimeters. So when we're figuring out our area, we need the radius, so we're going to divide our diameter by 2 to get 7. So our volume is pi times 7 squared times our height of 20. So we'll have 3.14 times 7 squared is 49, and times 20 to get us 3,077.2 centimeters, and you guessed it, cubed. So just always going back to this equation here. That's something that you don't want to forget. Your area of the base times the height is how you get your volume. Here this one says the volume of the cylinder is 618 cubic meters. Find the height of the cylinder. So now we're working backwards. So we know volume equals pi times the radius squared times the height. And we know right now that our volume is 618 cubic meters. And then I forgot to add the picture of our cylinder over here that's showing us we have a radius of 4 meters and a height of h. So we know our radius is 4 meters, so it'll be pi times 4 squared times h. So we're going to multiply our 3.14 for pi times our 4 squared, which is 16, to get us 50.24 h. In order to get h by itself, we divide by the number that's connected to it, and we'll end up with, let's type it in here, 618 divided by 50.24, getting us about 12.3, and that equals h, which would mean our height would be about 12.3 meters on that cylinder there. Another example is having our volumes of composite figures again. So it says an art museum is placing a sculpture on the stone pedestal below. Find the volume of the pedestal. So first things first, we have 3 shapes here. We have a rectangular prism, we have a cylinder, and we have another rectangular prism. So a volume of a rectangle, the volume of our rectangle, and our cylinder. I'm going to label it CY actually. So our pedestal pieces on the top and the bottom are the same. So we just take our base of 1.5 times our height of 0.5 times our width of 1.5 to get us 1.125 feet. And we're going to have that twice. And what did I forget? Cubed. And our cylinder. Its diameter is 1 foot, so its radius is 1/2. So we're going to have pi times the radius of 0.5 squared times the height of that entire cylinder of 3.5. So 0.5 squared is 0.25 times pi, 3.14, times our height of 3.5 to get us 2.7475 feet cubed. And then we're going to add all three of our pieces together. So 2.7475 plus 1.125 plus 1.125 again, giving us a total volume of 4.9975 feet cubed. So you're just breaking down your pieces and adding them together again. And finally, we need to know the volume of a cone. And so the volume of a cone is a little bit different. The way you figure out the volume of a cone is you take 1/3 times pi times the radius squared times the height. So it's the same general idea as your cylinder, but you're adding in this 1/3 because you're missing technically 1/3 of the shape if you were to trim it off, like trim a cylinder down and make it into a cone. So putting this into action here, we want to find the volume of the cone and round to the nearest tenth. So our equation is V equals 1/3 times pi times our radius squared times our height. So we're going to have 1/3 times pi times our radius here is 5 times our height of 7. And I'm just going to punch her in. I'm going to do my 1/3 last. So I'm going to do my 3.14 times 5 squared, which is 25, times 7. And remember, multiplying by 1/3 is the same thing as dividing by 3. So I'm just going to divide by 3. And I end up with 183.1, actually 0.2 because it's 0.16 and it wants me to round to the nearest tenth. So 183.2 and millimeters cubed. So the main gist of this is remembering these two formulas here and being able to apply them when you're solving something.